Should a listing agent follow up with the buyer's agent to find out if they're going to buy a house or their client is going to put an offer on it? Yes, absolutely. However, some sellers expect the listing agent to say, hey, what did your client think about the house? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Why? And they get deep down into it. Here's the thing. There's a fiduciary duty for the buyer's agent to protect the buyer at all costs. And sometimes that kind of slips. And that's when lawsuits happen. And I hate to say it, but it happens. And it sucks. But that's just part of what's going on in today's world. We're a very litigious society. And the reason why it's important for us to understand that, and this is an older article that I watched here. Let me bring this over here for you. You absolutely should be following up and saying, are you going to put an offer on that house? Is there an offer coming in? Should there be? In times when it's turbulent and it's fast paced and it's a firestorm of a market, listing agents typically don't need to do that because there's an air of desperation on the buyer's side. Today, buyers are persnickety. They're taking their time. They're finally taking advantage of a slowing market. There are buyers out there. There are serious buyers out there, but they're also taking their time to look at different houses. If you price your house over what the average value is for your house, the house's condition, location, and market, meaning the pricing, your house is going to sit. I don't care what you think. If you think that the agent isn't doing their job and they're not getting follow-up on it, yeah, you know what? I follow up with every showing. 90% of them ghost me. It's just the way it is. It's just the market. Because we're so afraid of being sued or screwing something up or whatever, or they're just lazy, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't take offense to it. As a matter of course, I follow up with every showing that I have. It is what it is. But don't expect me to go and say, what do you think of the house? What did the buyers think? Because that gives you leverage. That opens up, like if you're playing cards, you're dropping a card down on the table face up so that your opponents can see what's going on. You're taking power away from that buyer. Are you going to write an offer? Yeah, we're writing one right now. Okay. Do you have any questions about what the buyers or the seller expects? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about that. But if you ask me to follow up and say, what didn't your buyer like about my seller's house? That's opening up a can of worms. And I could get sued and you could get sued and the buyer, it just could get really bad. And the funny thing is right now, I'm going through my courses right now. I have to do continuing education every 4 or 5 years. And I just went through this whole ethics thing. And I saw this article pop up and I'm like, yeah, we should talk about that a little bit. It's an important thing for you to understand. If there's something that could hurt your feelings, it will make you biased towards that buyer, towards that contract. No, I would never do that. It does. It could be an implied bias. If I said, I don't like your house because it smells like dogs, like my house, you could be offended, right? If your house is old and not updated and the pool looks like it has chips everywhere and it needs to be redone, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money on this house. No, I'm not going to tell you that as a buyer's agent. I'm just saying it just doesn't fit the format, period, of what they're looking for. That's it. They're not interested in your house because of the price and the location and the condition of your property. Buyers today are being very picky, and they would rather buy a turnkey house, whether it's flipped or well-maintained, versus a house that has not been maintained. And you can tell right away from curb appeal all the way to the back fence, if that house has been maintained or not. And when a house has not been maintained, they look at it, they look at the kitchen, they look at the bathroom, they look at the wallpaper on the wall, they look at the dated painting or whatever on the walls, and they say, this house hasn't been maintained. I wonder what it looks like underneath. I wonder what the plumbing looks like. I wonder what the electrical looks like. If you have it priced correctly, there's going to be a bunch of buyers, and there's going to be a bunch of offers, and then the buyers will determine. Buyers have always determined the price. The list price is always the suggested price, but we're in a blind bid situation. So challenges for the listing agent. On the other side of the coin, when a buyer's agent refuses to give big feedback, listing agents miss out on valuable insight that can help a property get sold. That can cause friction in professional relationships. About common courtesy. Yeah, I get that. I understand that, but you're opening yourself up to litigious or implied bias. And implied bias is, I don't like you because you hurt my feelings. So I don't like the look of your jib, or it could be racial, could be political, could be whatever. You say one wrong thing and there could be an implied bias against that. And that could open you up to a lot of problems. So what happens if I don't get feedback from a showing? I move on. To me, that's a no. And I have this thing in my world in sales, it's called the gumball theory. If I want a red gumball, this is funny, when I first got into sales, I remember my sales manager telling me this. If you want a red gumball, which is your sale, your yes, you have to put a nickel in or a quarter into that gumball machine, turn it. And if you get a blue one, then you do it again. That's called cold calling or sales or whatever. And if you have a 25-cent gumball machine and a 50-cent gumball machine, guess which one's going to be purchased first, right? It's just the way it is. Okay, that's enough said there. Fed cuts rate, but it's not enough. I told you this a couple of weeks ago. As rates have come down in anticipation of the quarter point drop that Powell did, we saw that. Now we're at 6 1/4, 6 3/5, depending on the day. But that's still not enough to bring out the buyers. We need to bring it down to 5.5. The problem is people that are stuck in their houses because they're at 2.5 or 3%, they're not going to budge. They're happy where they are. They're happy paying their mortgage payment, because if they move, they're going to have to double up their mortgage payment, because right now it'll be like 5.5, 6. So it's a conundrum. We're stuck in a situation right now where buyers can be picky. If they can afford that house and they're looking at it, absolutely. They should absolutely buy it if they can afford it, if it makes sense to them. But there's no longer a need, because of the rates being so low, that it's so historically low that I can't afford not to buy a house, because now I'm economically locked in at 2.5%. That's the problem. There's a paradox that we've never experienced, because we haven't ever seen 2.5% go up to 7%, right? I mean, that's the thing. We're at a point right now where, hang on a second. I just saw something. I hope this is working. Yeah, it's working. Okay. We're at a place right now where this has never happened. And I'm happy. I've been telling people this for the last 5 years that I've been doing these videos. I've been hoping for a contraction or a crash in the market, so buyers come out. I honestly do, because buyers right now are frustrated. They're finally seeing an opportunity to go in and buy a house, and they're calling the deals, right? I have 2 offers on one of my listings, and they're playing their deal. They're playing tough, and that's the way it is. It's good to see this. It's good that it shakes up the market a little bit, because for the last 3 decades, we've been spoiled. saying this is what we want. The seller is spoiled. They're like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want the golden egg. Well, it's time to figure out how this goes. All right, this episode is brought to you by the Home Buyers Checklist. If you're planning on going on home shopping or open house shopping in the weekend, drop down this buyer's checklist and print it out and take it to the 4 or 5 or 6 houses that you go to look at it, because it allows you to compare and contrast each house based on upgrades, if you like the kitchen or not, that kind of thing. If it has air conditioning, if the pool needs to be redone, if the roof needs to be redone, that kind of thing. What the front yard looks like, what the backyard looks like, it's overgrown, dated, what have you. Download this checklist. Cupertino House of the Week, $3.3 million, not my listing, McClintock Lane. This is up in the hills, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,300 square foot, built in 1984, 3-car garage. And if you know where that is, Deanza's right over here. And yeah. Let's take a quick look inside. So look, it's a little dated, but it's not bad, right? They have painted oak cabinets, same format as the original. So I'm assuming that this is original. They dropped some nice granite on it, on the counters. Sorry, got the sun coming in my face, shining in my face. But they have nice KitchenAid. That's good. They have, carpet. So yeah, this looks like it was just updated. They have the carpet in there. Hang on a second. There we go. Technical difficulties. All right. There you go. Nice big garage. They have a treadmill for you if you want. Big backyard. Good. Is it worth 3.2? Yeah, absolutely. That thing's going to go in a heartbeat. This one is Willow Glen House of the Week, and I picked it because it's really walking distance to downtown Lincoln Ave. Coolidge Ave, not my listing, $3 million, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,700 square feet. And this thing's beautiful. It's a great purchase. It's a great price. And I think it's priced to sell. If you look here, that's Coolidge Ave. You can walk down, have dinner, walk back. There you go. Pardon me. Excuse me. Let's take a look inside this. I like this plan. It's a beautiful house. I'm going to sneeze again. It's funny because the soaking tubs are kind of outdated nowadays. What's happening is they're reformatting into giant walk-in showers. So they're 8 to 10 feet long. I sold a house down here in Curry that had that. So nice. Thank you for doing the floor plan. Okay, this is Luxury Home of the Week. Lupine Road, not my listing, wish it was. $25 million, 8 bedrooms, 9 and 2.5 baths, built in 2006. Let's take a quick look inside. Oh, it's walking distance to the Los Altos dog park. I like where my dog park is. It's literally like 6 doors away from my house. So yeah, if you have $26 million just lying around and you want to buy a nice property, this is it. I bet we can even get this rug included. Because where else are you going to put this rug? The decor has some Beetlejuice vibes going on it. Really swanky living. Now that's a wine room right there. Look at that. A big movie room, big gym. See, the funny thing is, I started my gym inside my garage over COVID. And while I enjoyed it, what I was missing was the social interaction. And I go to the gym every day to say hi to people, and it gives me that mental social click that I'm still connected to society, which is why, I mean, I get it. If you want to spend 2 hours in the gym, that's absolutely great. Do it with your trainer to come in or your friends to come in, and then you go and have that. But there you go. And nothing else is going on. Everything is kind of in play. So that's pretty much it. Nothing is totally out of the ordinary right now. Days on market, inventory, everything is just kind of settling out. I think we're going to see is when November comes around after the third cut, if that happens, we'll see it play a little bit more because that'll be a third rate cut this year. It'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see people freeing up, and it'll actually be nice to see if people actually put their houses on market, because they'll say that that's enough of a parity for me that I can afford to sell my 2.5% house and buy a 5% house. All right. Happy Monday. Thanks for watching. That's it for now. We'll see you out there.